Well, we have a lot to talk about today.
We haven't got long. King Charles to pause cancer treatment as Meghan Markle debuts surprise new look. They go well together.
Is it a surprise new look, JK? She looks like she raided a game show closet. I've seen that look before. It's called Deal or No Deal. So, I don't necessarily think that's a surprise new look. I appreciate the creativity from the author of that.
No, she's run out of money and she cut the back off the dress and wore it again with some slip-on shoes, and everybody went, "Oh, that's very, very good. That's very good for the environment." She was on her own. Prince Harry, the ginger whinge, doesn't want to be with her. She's beginning to lose the plot. I told you, they'll be divorced within 5 years of getting married. How long have they been married?
Oh man, was it 20? I don't know. I tried.
I said 5 to 7 years, and he will be back with his ginger tail between his legs, and she'll be lording it up in California with 2 royal offspring. Trust me, that's how I see it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Well, that's beautiful.
Harry and Meghan have rowed over the Christmas holidays, and the latest sign of a rift. They are rifting, those two, aren't they? Come on, let's be honest. It's happening. I'm right.
This is what I have to say about Earl Spencer. I know he has a lot of friends, so I'll hold my tongue a little bit. But I love his current ex-wife, his latest ex-wife. He's got more ex-wives than I have clean socks right now.
More ex-wives than me. There you are. What a shock.
Yeah. So if Meghan wants that influence on her husband, enjoy. He doesn't talk to half of his children, so no. I don't believe in him being the one that's going to reunite the Windsor clan. I have no confidence in him whatsoever in that arena. And I really don't think that there's any way Meghan Markle's going to step foot in the UK. So I think this story is absolutely ridiculous. And I am definitely his team ex-wife when it comes to Earl Spencer. He announced their divorce right after her father died. I mean, give this woman time to breathe. So Earl Spencer.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Harry and Meghan Tales. I'm your host, Kelly, and today we're tackling a big one. That's right, we're diving into some of the latest and, quite frankly, ridiculous commentary from none other than Jeremy Kyle and Kinsey Schofield. These so-called royal commentators have been stirring the pot once again, throwing cheap shots at Meghan and Harry. But in this episode, we're going to take their words apart, bit by bit, and highlight what's really going on. So, for those who missed it, Jeremy Kyle, yes, the same Jeremy Kyle who's made a career out of sensationalist daytime talk shows, and Kinsey Schofield, a royal commentator known for her sharp criticisms of Meghan and Harry, teamed up on a recent episode of Talk TV. And as expected, the conversation quickly took a nasty turn. They had plenty to say about Meghan's latest appearance and her relationship with Harry, but none of it was insightful, let alone accurate. Let's start with the low-hanging fruit, Meghan Markle's outfit. Now, I know it sounds superficial, but believe it or not, this is the kind of thing people like Jeremy and Kinsey like to focus on. Meghan showed up looking fabulous, as she always does, but that wasn't enough for these critics. Jeremy Kyle chimed in with this gem. She's just recycled an old dress, cut the back off, and people are calling it creative. Really, Jeremy? This is what you want to focus on? Let's unpack why comments like these are not only misleading, but intentionally divisive. First off, why is it that every time Meghan steps out in public, the focus is so often on her appearance rather than what she's actually doing? This obsession with what she wears, how she looks, or whether she's smiling enough is not only reductive, but it's emblematic of a much larger issue, misogyny in the media. It's particularly prevalent when it comes to women of colour in the public eye. Let's be clear. Meghan Markle's choices, whether it's in fashion or philanthropy, are deliberate and impactful. The outfit Jeremy Kyle mocked, it was a conscious, eco-friendly choice, and that's something we should be praising, not belittling. But the media often twists things to fit their narrative, one that portrays Meghan as some sort of out-of-touch diva, when in reality, she's consistently making decisions that reflect her values of sustainability, equality, and community service. Now, this isn't the first time Meghan has made sustainable fashion choices. She's been doing this for years. She's someone who champions environmental causes, so of course she's going to make wardrobe choices that reflect that. This isn't just about looking good, although, let's be honest, she looks fantastic. It's about making responsible, forward-thinking choices. But Kyle and Schofield didn't stop there. Oh no, they had plenty more to say. Next up, we have Kinsey Schofield's favourite narrative, the rift between Meghan and Harry. She said something along the lines of, they're rifting, those two. It's only a matter of time before Harry comes back with his tail between his legs. Wow, where do I even start with this? This idea that Meghan and Harry's marriage is crumbling has been pushed by tabloids for years. Ever since they stepped back from royal duties, it seems like certain parts of the British media are counting down the days until their relationship implodes. But here's the thing. Meghan and Harry are thriving. Every public appearance they make together, every joint initiative they launch, they show a united front. This rift narrative is completely fabricated, and it says more about the people pushing it than it does about Meghan and Harry's relationship. Let's take a moment to focus on what Meghan and Harry have achieved together, because believe me, it's a lot. From their work with the Archewell Foundation to Harry's Invictus Games and Meghan's ongoing commitment to causes like women's empowerment, racial equality and mental health, this couple is making waves, not headlines. When Meghan and Harry announced they were stepping back from royal duties, they made it clear they wanted to carve out a new role for themselves, one that aligned with their values. And they've done just that. Archewell is dedicated to driving cultural change through compassion, collaboration, and shared humanity. Whether it's supporting mental health initiatives or providing aid during global crises, Meghan and Harry have consistently used their platform to uplift others. Here's a key point I want to emphasize. You don't accomplish all of that as a drifting couple. You don't successfully build an entire foundation dedicated to positive global change if you're at odds with your partner. Meghan and Harry are a team, and they are stronger together. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. The double standards that Meghan and Harry have faced, especially in comparison to other members of the royal family. For years, the British press has been relentless in their coverage of Meghan, often holding her to a standard that they conveniently overlook when it comes to other royals. For example, when Kate Middleton rewears an outfit, she's praised for being thrifty and relatable. But when Meghan does the same thing, suddenly she's criticised for being cheap or trying too hard. When Prince William speaks out about mental health, he's a pioneer. But when Harry does the same, particularly when discussing his own mental health struggles, he's labelled as fragile or ungrateful. The hypocrisy is astounding, and it's time we call it out for what it is. We can't have this conversation without addressing the role that the media plays in shaping public perception. Jeremy Kyle and Kinsey Schofield are just two players in a much larger machine, a media landscape that profits off of controversy and sensationalism. But here's the thing. When the media consistently frames Meghan and Harry in a negative light, it creates a distorted image that can influence how the public views them. What's especially troubling is the way the media often frames Meghan as the villain in her own story. It's a classic case of the othering of a woman who dared to step outside the box. Meghan didn't fit the traditional royal mould, and instead of celebrating her for that, the media has consistently tried to tear her down. But why? Is it because she's American, a woman of colour, or simply because she refuses to be a passive participant in her own life? The answer, I believe, is a mix of all these things. Let's take a moment to talk about what Meghan and Harry actually stand for. The truth is, they've built a legacy of compassion, kindness and service that far outweighs the petty commentary of people like Jeremy Kyle and Kinsey Schofield. Their work isn't about making headlines, it's about making a difference. Harry's Invictus Games, for example, have transformed the lives of countless veterans around the world. These games give wounded servicemen and women a platform to not only compete, but to heal. And let's not forget Meghan's tireless advocacy for women's rights and gender equality. Long before she met Harry, Meghan was an activist, using her voice to challenge the status quo. From working with the UN to creating her Together cookbook that supported survivors of the Grenfell Tower fire, Meghan has always been about giving back. When Meghan and Harry made the decision to step back from royal duties, it was framed by the media as some sort of betrayal, a scandalous move that shocked the royal establishment. But let's put things in perspective. What they did was brave. They chose their mental health, their happiness, and their family's well-being over the rigidity of an institution that wasn't working for them. In doing so, they've paved the way for a new type of royal life, one that isn't defined by palace walls or outdated traditions, but by service, compassion, and integrity. And while the tabloids may still try to paint them as theirables, the truth is that Meghan and Harry are redefining what it means to be royal in the 21st century. At the heart of this issue is the tabloid machine, a multi-billion-dollar industry that profits off of negativity. Meghan and Harry have been prime targets because they sell papers and drive clicks. But we, as consumers, have to ask ourselves, why do we let this happen? Why do we allow the media to dictate who we love and who we hate? The truth is, the media feeds off of drama, and Meghan and Harry, particularly Meghan, have been at the centre of a manufactured storm. The more outrageous the claim, the more papers they sell. And while that may be good for their bottom line, it's devastating for the people on the receiving end of this constant scrutiny. Meghan has spoken openly about the toll that the media coverage has taken on her mental health, and Harry has repeatedly expressed his concerns about history repeating itself, referring, of course, to the tragic way his mother, Princess Diana, was treated by the press. So, to bring it all home, Meghan and Harry are not the people the media wants you to believe they are. They're not selfish, they're not rifting, and they're certainly not irrelevant. They are two people who have chosen to live their lives with purpose, to use their platform for good, and to rise above the noise. As for Jeremy Kyle, Kinsey Schofield, and all the others who choose to tear them down, well, their comments say far more about them than they do about Meghan and Harry. They thrive on negativity and drama, but we don't have to buy into it. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Meghan and Harry Tales. If you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and share your thoughts. Let's continue to celebrate Meghan and Harry for the strong, compassionate individuals they are, and not let the tabloids dictate the narrative.